View engines in MVC are responsible for finding, parsing, and rendering HTML templates or other markup using special syntax and lightweight logic. In this lesson, we want to explore the Razor View Engine, which is the powerful default engine provided by MVC. We've already put this engine to use assembling our views and layouts. Now let's see how we can use it to generate more dynamic markup. The Razor View Engine was designed to be lightweight, flexible, and friendly to use. Razor syntax is always prefixed by an @ sign, which opens up a wide range of features. One of the best aspects of this view engine is just how intelligent it is in terms of transitioning between HTML and Razor code. As you can see from this sample, the engine understands the difference between HTML and Razor syntax even inside of its own code block. The most common way you'll interact with Razor is through its helper methods. Most helpers are created as extensions to the HTML class, though others are available as well, such as the URL helpers. HTML helper methods dynamically generate markup based on server-side inputs, but can also be used to access other Razor features like partial views. There are also utility type methods that aid us in generating URL strings and those types of tasks. Helpers automatically also take care of tedious details for us, like HTML encoding certain values and making sure that anchor tags generate appropriate URLs to specified action methods. HTML helpers provide significant value when working with forms and offer a matching helper for each HTML form element. These methods are easy to use and provide overloads to match your needs and create exact markup. The most meaningful benefit of these helpers is that they ensure your form elements are rendered with HTML name attributes that will work properly with model binding. We're going to discuss model binding in much more depth in the next module, but let's briefly review this topic from the perspective of Razor. HTML forms in MVC are often backed by a matching data model, which is just a C# class with properties that correspond to the fields of the form. Razor allows you to associate a view with a model at the top of the file, and this is often the model that the form is based on. Declaring a model inside of a view allows for strong typing of its properties inside of Razor helpers. This will ensure that rendered form fields are named properly, so they're processed correctly by the MVC framework when the form is submitted. Now, if this model binding process sounds confusing, don't worry at all right now. The main takeaway here is that HTML helpers generate form fields that work efficiently with MVC features like model binding. In the next module, we'll explore this in more depth. So moving on to other features of Razor, this view engine also offers lightweight logical syntax for use inside your views. You can add C# features like for each loops, using blocks, and conditional statements. This can be very useful for producing markup. For example, you could use a repeat block to build out the rows in a table, or use an if block to decide whether to display certain markup to the user. Razor also allows for full C# code blocks in your view, but we have to be extremely careful with this. Overusing this technique can easily lead to too much logic in your views and can quickly break down the design intentions of MVC. Code blocks are sometimes an indicator that your view is just doing too much. Views should be restricted to simple, low-level display logic. All other decisions should be made in the action methods and reflected in an appropriate view model. So now we have a general understanding of the Razor View Engine features and syntax. In the next lesson, let's start off simple and just practice creating a few elements with Razor.